guys, welcome back to my channel. It's G from Happiness and Crafting. So it's Shabby Saturday, so we are going to be doing a Christmas in July. So I thought we would start off by making some lovely little sort of baubles. I'm just reusing ones that I had found. Actually, I found them a couple of weeks ago. I nearly threw them away and I kept them, and as I was sorting out my room, and lovely Pamela suggested that we do a Christmas in July shabby chic style. I thought these would be absolutely perfect to recycle, and I just think they are beautiful. So I wanted to show you some different fabrics that I've used to cover them up. They are these little baubles, just plain gold ones on there, just plastic ones that I had. Now I have painted them, I pre-painted them, and I've just used some chalk paint. Now I've got 3. I've painted 3 on there. Look, I've got glue gun on here already, I can see. So I've painted 3 of them, and that's sort of like a couple of coats of chalk paint. So on there, so I did that before, so we don't need to watch me do that. And I've just covered them. Now this is like a netty material, which is quite nice. Let me just pop these to the side. They're really, really pretty, and so lovely. So that's this one, which I've covered this with, and it's sort of like this shiny netting stuff. And I'm not quite sure whether you can see that. It does give a little bit of sparkle off there. But if you're going to do some of these and you hang them on a Christmas tree, or you've got Christmas lights, it reflects it. So it's so pretty. So that's that one. This was easy to cover because it's stretchy. And it just when you gather it at the top, I'll show you in a bit when we make one, it's a lot easier to gather it than it is the velvet that I used earlier, or the first one that I did. So this is really pretty. It's got one of my little flat back embellishments on there. I've added some little pearls onto the top and a little pearl trim around this bit. So I just think it's so pretty, isn't it? Isn't that lovely? And I think these make just pretty little gifts as well. A little keepsake for somebody if you wanted to add it to a Christmas gift. So this one I have made with some velvet. So that's, oopsie daisy, I'm so clumsy. That's with this velvet here, which is lovely. Now this looks a little bit more purpley, doesn't it, than this? I think it's when you stretch it, it sort of like changes colour just a little bit. But I've covered that. Now this was a little bit more difficult. Although this is quite thin, when you gather it up, it was a little bit thicker at the top, and I did have to sew it on there. But it did gather lovely, but it was a little bit harder. So the thinner the material, obviously, the better. Now I stuck some little flat back gems on there, some little gems. I've got a little bit of lace. I've got the little pearl trim as well. One of my little flowers, 2 of my little flowers I've just popped on the top, and a little pearl to hold on our little hanger like that. So that is so pretty, isn't it? I think they are just lovely, and this little bit will reflect in your Christmas lights as well. So we have to have a little bit of bling on there, don't we? The next one, well, the other one, I've only made 3, and this one is just beautiful. Now the material on this is a little bit tougher. It's quite thin, but it's quite hard. But look at the colours, look at that. That is just gorgeous, isn't it? But it's a little bit, hard to manipulate around a little ball, and to pop it around the top. So this one's got a lot more little roses on there. We've got a little bit of bling around the top. This side, I've got one of my, oh God, I'm so clumsy today. A little bit of a flat back embellishment on there, and a little bow. And then I've got a little dingly dangly from the bottom. And I've stuck it on to a little bead cap. Can you see that's got like a little bead cap on there, which I've just hung the little beads from. which are lovely. So that will just dangle down as we like. But again, this was quite difficult to gather around. Or, do you know what I mean? It's got little bits on here which are a little bit lumpy bumpy, but it's still really, really pretty. So I just wanted to share different sort of fabrics to use. So I'm going to pop these to the side. Now I've got this one as well, which is lovely, and this is just like this little sequin netting, which is really pretty. Now where's my bauble? Where's my bauble? So this around there would just look lovely, and I'm sure that would be a little bit easier. Can you see when you gather it around, it does take up quite a lot there, but how pretty is that? Just gorgeous, isn't it? So this fabric was really quite inexpensive as well. So if you can get some really cheap fabric, the thinner the better. Now I did want glass ones or plastic ones, but I didn't have any. I thought I'm not going to go out and buy any, but I might do that nearer to Christmas and get some clear glass ones or clear sort of plastic ones. And sort of like decorate those as well. But I just think these are so pretty. Look at that, that's so lovely, isn't it, on there? So you've got the little sequins sparkling on it. So that's the fabricy sort of side. So if you can get like a nice thin fabric. Oh, I've got a couple more that I wanted to show you as well. I've got this one, which is nice, and this is, I can't remember where I got this piece from, but it's in my stash. But if you've got little pretty blouses that you pick up from the charity shop or the thrift store, they're even better, aren't they? Because it's all so cheap. Look at that. But you've got to make sure this bit is sort of like gathered nice and tidily, because look, this one is quite thin, so doubled over it does sort of darken up a little bit. But a little bit of manipulating and it will work. And the other one was some lace. Now this is a piece that I've had for a very, very long time. And I just thought that would look lovely. Now this is cream. This is a creamy colour, and this is white. So if you weren't into your shabby chic, you could colour maybe some lace, tea stain it or coffee stain it, and have some sort of like vintage style. But look, isn't that just lovely? I think that is so lovely. And then you put bows and all sorts of bits and pieces on them. So I just think they're lovely. So you can use all sorts of things that you have. Don't go out and buy anything. Have a look in your scrap pile. I've also got this that I found, and look at that. Wouldn't that look lovely on there? Just gorgeous, aren't they? So that's just, you could just cut little bits off and stick it on there. If you've got different paints, you can obviously paint them differently. If you've got nice little metallic-y paints, you could paint on there. You can also put napkins on there, which would be really nice to pop on. So there's lots and lots of different ways you can do it, especially if you've got some old plastic baubles that have seen better days. But I just think they're lovely. So guys, what shall we start with? Decisions. So let's pop that to the side, and then I've got some laces, I got some ribbons, I've made a couple of little bows. The white, I quite like the white. I liked this white bow on there, because if you're making these as a gift, if you do sort of like white and pearly and stuff, it sort of like generally goes with a lot of other stuff, doesn't it? So if you don't know somebody's colour scheme for Christmas, if you sort of like do sort of like the creamies and whites, they tend to sort of like go with all sorts of things. That's what I think anyway. Right guys, so yeah, I've got a couple of little bows that might go on there, and we've got that. So I'm going to take this one. Now the other thing that I thought, I had this little top piece on here that came off. This is just plastic, but I'm just wondering if I put that back on. I think it came off this one, or there's this one. I'm not quite sure which one. Let's see which fits. So I'm just thinking, there we go, that one fits on there. I'm just thinking that it might be easier to gather the bits and pieces up with this, because this bit wasn't big enough, if you know what I mean. It needed a little bit longer on here. So let me just cut this piece off. And then I've got the little bit to tie something to on there because it's got the hole in it. So what I'm going to do, I think, I'm going to just take that off. I'm going to just blob a little bit of glue gun, oh gosh, just on here. And then stick this back on so that's not going to fall off. You're not going to see this bit because I'll cover that bit up with pearls or something like that. So I think this was a little purple bauble in there because look, I've just taken a bit of the paint off. So what should we do? Should we do a pink or should we do this one? If we do this one, then we can have these little bows on it, can't we? They're so pretty. Right, let's take a little piece of this. Let's give myself some room. I've also found some beautiful little pink pearls. Now look at those. I found those in my stash when I was having a little tidy up. It's amazing what you can find, isn't it? Or I forget actually. I think if I was starting out crafting, but I've been crafting for I don't know how long, donkey's years. If I started out, I probably wouldn't collect as much as I've got. I would be a little bit more selective, I think. So all these people that say, oh, but you've got so much stuff, sometimes I wish I didn't have so much stuff because it's just a bit of a nightmare. Right, I'm just going to try and measure this as best I can and just snip down like that. Got a bit of an awkward snip. Pop this on. You'll probably always have a little bit too much. Like that. And like that. So I'm going to just cut it just along here. Whoops. Oh, I think I went a bit wibbly wobbly. And just now that's it. I think that's the right way. So you want to just gather it up like that and just pop it so we've got it at the top like that and just scrunch it around. This bit takes a little bit longer. I'm just going to twist that. Can you see how pretty that is? It's just got a little bit of sparkle on there. We can add a little bit more sparkle. I think I've just cut that just slightly too small. Or maybe not. There we go, that's better. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hold these two pieces and I'm just going to take a little bit of my glue, just a tiny bit on there, and just attach that. And again on this side, just a little bit. Gather that up and do the same with this bit. Oops, it's just come off. Let's just hold you on. I'm going to do, so just do sort of like, if you can, like the four corners, the four bits, even bits, like that. I found this way to be the easiest way to do it. So it's sort of like a little bit more even around the outside. So take this bit, a little bit of glue in there. Like that. Glue gun comes in handy because it's so much quicker. I do like my glue gun. There we go. And then we can just gather those little bits up like that. And those bits will just sort of like tuck in, so we know it's sort of like in there. Like that. There we go. So what we can do now is wrap a piece of this, which I think I might wrap a little bit of this. This is organza ribbon. Now I tried to use thread and my thread isn't strong enough. and it did break. So I'm going to hold that in my thumb like that, and then just wrap this around like that. And that, putting that little top piece on, you want to try and tie it quite tight. You can tie it or you can glue it. I'm going to just give that a little knot in there. Oh gosh, if I can find the end. Okay, let's start again. Pop that in there, hold that, and then just wrap it around. Make sure we wrap it around nice and tight, so that's in there and even. There we go. Oh my gosh, making a right old mess of this one. Okay, third time lucky, guys, third time lucky. It's because I'm videoing it, isn't it? Because your video, it always goes a little bit wibbly wobbly. Let's pop this in. Let's see if I can tie it and then glue it. Or should I just glue it? Let me just glue it. I haven't tied the other ones, I glued them. So that's probably what I need to do. You want to pull it as tight as you can. And hold that tight. If you've got a nice piece of thick cotton, sort of heavy duty cotton, just twist that round a few times and tie it off. That will be a lot better and a lot easier for you. So then I'm just going to pop this round nice and tight and put that on there. So these can be made in so many different designs. So all depending on what your colour scheme is, what you have in your stash as well. I'm just going to cut this little extra bit off like that. We're not going to see this bit anyway, but we want it nice and tight so it holds on. Where's the little hook? So again, I suppose you could have that gathered up like that as well, couldn't you? But I'm not. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to cut all this little bit off. Let's just trim this up. Oh look, I've got lots of lovely little sparklies on there. Trim this up so we can find our little tag at the top, our little, there we go. Look how tidy, look at that. That's pretty good, isn't it? Little bits of netting on there. Perfect. Okay, oops. Let's just brush that to the side. There we go, guys. So, not the neatest, but look at that. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? I'm loving that. Take this little bit off. There we go. So, gorgeous. I wonder if I just sit that in there. That would probably work, wouldn't it? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a little dingly dangly off the bottom because I think that would sort of work quite well on this one, and we're going to have a little bow. Now I've got this lovely little pink one. Do you think that will work? Look at that. So how cute is that? Now I think it needs to go this way. So we've got the little hook, so I'm not quite sure which way it would hook. Not that it really matters. Or shall I make another big white bow? We could have, I got my little bow maker here. I'm going to take some white. Let's just make another bow and just see. Got my little bow maker, which I absolutely love. So I'm going to wrap that around and sort of zigzag it like that. Around, oops. Let's bring it down a little bit. Like that, a few times underneath the bottom. Turn that round, pop that through. Have you guys, did you get one of these, or have you already got one? Because I have so much fun with my little bow maker. I absolutely love it. So, was it on your Amazon wish list? Let's pop that back in there, pop that over there, and then we have our little bow. Fabulous. Let me just do this up a little bit tighter. I could have probably used less ribbon on the end, but look at that. I think maybe we'll keep this one sort of pretty and white. Look at that. Oh, just gorgeous, isn't it? Snip that off. Snip that off. Let's pop this around like that. Pop that down, and then we can sit our little bauble on it like that, which is the messiest bit, because that's all right, and then we can stick sort of like the bow over a messy bit, can't we? So that can just go on there like that. Oh, love it. Just beautiful. Right, what have we got? Where's all my little bits and pieces? I've got lots of little gems and bits to put on there. We can have one of these. I do like these ones. I think these are just so pretty. So we've got this little one which we can pop on there. Look at that, it just makes them look so lovely, doesn't it? It's a shame I don't have a silver backed one. That's gold because we've got the silver on here, but I don't have a silver one. I've got this one in here. This is a metal one. That's pretty, isn't it? That's quite pretty. Gosh, can you hear the wind outside? We've got such a windy day. Actually, that's got a little thing. I'm going to put this one on. I think that should be okay. And then we can have some little pearly bits at the bottom. So I'm going to stick this on. Actually, I might wrap. Should I wrap some pearls around? Seeing we're going to have a little bit of pearl on there. This is just that pearl, what's it called? Trim, isn't it? Should I wrap some of this around it? I think that would look quite nice. Start at the bottom. Where's the end? So yeah, you can bling these up as much as you like. These aren't huge. I know you can get some quite big baubles, but this is what I had, and like I said, I don't want to go and buy anything, because the whole point of doing all these crafty bits is trying to use as much as you can in general bits and pieces. There's obviously things that you have to buy, tools and and glues and things like that, but and some of these trims, but sort of like some of the fabrics and stuff, you can just sort of like, you might have all of these bits. You might have an old pretty shirt that you don't wear anymore, and it's all sort of like shiny a little bit. So I'm just going to wrap this around like this. Pop that around. Whoops. Like that. But yeah, if you don't have fabric, like I said, just paint your baubles or pop a little napkin on there. If they haven't got, if you've got one that's not sort of see-through, you can just put it straight onto your bauble, can't you? And you can also get the sort of like polystyrene ones, polystyrene baubles, which you can actually stick things into. Like if you've got like pins, look, with prettiness on there, if you make your own, you can just stick them in, and they would look really lovely, wouldn't they? So huge amount of different ways you can do them. So use what you got. So this is just an idea of how to do it. So let's just go all the way around like that. And I think that's the front, so let's just chop that little bit off, add a little bit more glue, and pop that down like that. There we go, look at that. That would look nice as it is anyway, wouldn't it? A little bit bumpy there. Oops. There we go. Lovely. Let's pop that to the side. Oh, I do like that. That's looking good. We've got, which is the front. This is the bit where it sort of like doubles up. So we're going to pop that on there like that, which looks beautiful. Going to put the glue on here. And I'm going to stick that on like so. Pop that down, make sure it sticks on. We need that on there. Lovely. Right, well that's just drying. I'm going to pop that one on in a minute. I just want to make the little bit at the bottom, the little dingly dangly bit. Now I've got these little bead ends, the little bead caps. So, oops. I don't have huge ones, but you just need a bigger one like this to stick on the bottom. I think this one is a bit too domey. But try and get one, the biggest one you've sort of got. Oh, I've got a couple here. Actually, that one might be a little bit better. Let's put this one in. So this then would just, oh gosh, sit on the bottom like that. Just, I mean, you could use a button. You don't have to use this. You can, you know, you just need something to sort of like cover up where you're going to put your bead dangles. Let's pop that in. There we go. Look at that, guys. Doesn't that just look lovely? I think that's so pretty. And because you've got the little bits on there, it's going to make it all nice and sparkly. Right, what shall we have? Look, my glue gun. Hanging down. I did have this on the other one, but I think that's going to be too thick. I'm going to use this. This is my silk thread, and because this is sort of like goldy in it, we can use that. Oh gosh, I got bits everywhere. Where's my pearls? Here's my pearls. So I've got some little pearls here, which I shall use. Let me just get a little tray. Let's just pop some in there in a little tray. Then I've got some of these. Do I need a bigger pearl? Do you think I need a bigger pearl? I've got these which are like little spacer beads. Can you see? And they've got like little shiny bits in. We like shiny. We do shiny. These are all sort of like flat back ones, so we don't need those. But I think maybe I need a bigger pearl. Okay, so I've got one here. This is a sort of bigger one. I think that will be quite nice at the bottom. So let's take a needle. I've got my sort of embroidery needle. I'm not going to take this off there. I'm just going to thread this onto here, if I can. There we go. Thread that on. So we need, what do we need? We need that at the bottom. So I'm going to put this on first, like that. Is that upside down? So we need to, yeah, that's right. Or should we put that on last? I've got decisions. So this can be at the bottom because we need a bigger pearl at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to just stop there. Right, confusing myself. I'm confusing myself. Right, I'm going to thread this back in there like that. We will start from the bottom. But I want to put a smaller pearl. Oh, actually, I might put a little metal bit on there. God, decisions, guys. I'm going to put, because the heavier, the better. These are little spacer beads as well. But I'm going to have to put a smaller pearl on. Oh, too many decisions. That can go on the bottom, and then we are going to have another smaller pearl. We will have one of these little spacer beads. I don't want it to be huge and long, I mean. Then we will put that one on like that. With the bigger beads, it will sort of like heavy, as it will sort of hold it down. But we don't want it too heavy because it's only going to be stuck on with that. So let's put that on, and then we're going to have a little pearl. Oops. A little pearl on there. What's that like? A little pearl. Should we have another one of those? I think maybe we'll have another one of those. Like that, and then another little pearl on there. Perfect. And then this will go on there like that. Okay, not that we need it that long. There we go. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. So let's take that off. I'm going to tie a knot in this end. This end is the one that we are going to stick to the little bauble. Now again, obviously this is optional. You don't have to have little dingly danglies off it, but you know how much I love a dingly dangly. Oh my gosh, I can't even tie a knot today. There we go. And then obviously we're going to have to put a little bit of glue in this to make sure that we stick this on. Couple of little knots, 2 or 3 knots in there, like that. Perfect. Let's just make sure that that's enough, so it's not going to fall out the end. There we go. So that bit is going to attach to our little bauble. Going to chop this off here. And I'm actually going to just add a little bit of glue gun onto there and just pull that down so that knot stays in place like that. Pull these up, chop that off there, put that away. Then I'm going to tie a knot in this end. Like this. Let's just tie a little knot. Now to make that really tight, I'm going to get my needle, pop it through there and just pull that down like this. Let's move that out of the way. I want to pull it so it goes along, and that's not going to work. There we go. Just pulled it a bit too tight then. You see, you want to pull it down till it gets to the end of your little pearl, that end, and then again wrap that around. Pop your needle in. It just pulls it really tight to that end, like that. I might just do one more little knot because that's quite tiny in there, just to make sure it doesn't all fall out. We can tie another knot like that. Pop our needle in and pull it down tight. There we go. Super. Right, and I'm just going to cut just at a little slant, just so that we've got a little end to it. Can you see that? There we go, got a little end to that. So that's quite pretty, isn't it? And then this will stick on the bottom like that and dingle dangle down. Right, now this bit, I'm going to just sort of do that. So I think roughly that is going to be the middle. I'm going to pop a little bit. I've just eyeballed that, so let's hope it's the middle. Let me just see. Yes. There we go. Let's stick that on. Hold that on nice and tight. Like that. And that is going to dangle down. How pretty is that? So super lovely. There we go. Let's pop our needle away so I don't stab myself. What do we do with that little pearly bit? Did I just... oh, here it is. Here it is. Let's take this, and then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to glue that onto there with glue gun. Little blob on there. Pop that on. Like that, and hold that tight. Hold that tight. Oh, just quite simple one. Now again, you can add lots of little bits and pieces to that if you want to do more sort of like little diamante bits on there, little flat back gems. Is that on there? I think that's on there, but that is just gorgeous, isn't it? Right, I'm going to pop a little bit of this. Let's cut a little bit off here. Oh, I think that might be a little bit too long. Let's pop that through there. Let's pop it this way. Oh my golly woes, come on through. Could have used the needle to thread that through really, shouldn't I? Take that, and then we are going to just tie a little knot in there. And then we got that to hang it up with. So pretty. There we go. And then that's a little... actually, I quite like putting that little thingy majiggity back on. That's the original one. You can't see that, it doesn't look like it's plastic on there. But look at that, that's so simple to do. Look at that, I just think it's so lovely. So this is a little bit of a bigger bauble, and this one is a little bit of a smaller bauble. So do you think we've got time to do another one? I think I'll show you how to do the netting one, because that's quite simple. Let's take another little bauble. Should we take the bigger one? Let's go for the bigger one, because I think that was the smaller one, wasn't it? So what we're going to do, we're going to take this fabric, let's pop these on because I will end up knocking them all over the place. Take some, I got a little cut end. I think this is where I cut the last one. So this is lovely. This is such a shiny fabric, isn't it? Can you see, this just is really simple. I'm going to just do the same as I did on the last one. Open this up. If you've got, I'm just going to cut this, maybe I'll do this then because this end is a little bit straighter. If you've got lots and lots of material, then it's, you know, and you're not afraid of sort of wasting it, then you can just cut big sort of squares, can't you? Let's just cut down like that. We will have this up there like that, so roughly there. So it's probably about the size of this square. Like that. I'm not sure whether this has got the right side or a wrong side to it. Oh, I was going to put the other little thingy on. That's what we need to do, isn't it? Is this the right one for this? Oh, there we go. Look at that. Pop that back on again. Let's pop a little bit of glue on there. Like that. It's not majorly shabby, these ones, are they? But I think they are still really, really pretty. I'm going to just pop another little glue stick in there a minute. There we go. Let's take this. I think I might try and just wrap this around like I did without having to glue this on. Just, I mean, this is sort of like a nice netting, so it's easier to move about. So I'm going to try. Where's my pink thread? Here it is. Let me just see if I can use the thread and wrap this around. So again, hold it in your finger or hold it under your thumb like that. Just take it and just wrap this as tight as you can around your little bauble top like that. A few times, make sure it's all nice and tight, and then just tie a little bow. Not a bow, tie a knot, don't tie a bow. Let's go this way, just so it's nice and tight in there. Again, I will stick something around it, so you know you've got no chance of it sort of like coming off. Probably can't see me doing this, but I'm trying my best to sort of tie a knot with very, very thin cotton. There we go, lovely. Let's just chop that off. Can you see? Because I've got like the creamy underneath, but like I said, you can paint it any colour that you want to paint it, but that is just so pretty. Let's cut these little pieces off there. And again, quite liking this. This is lovely. If I did it properly, I could probably, oh, I didn't pull that up very tight, did I? I could have probably, using a little bit of a bigger fabric, you could probably make it look a little bit tidier, couldn't you? Let's just see. Let's just snip this around. Oops. Pull that up. Yeah, I think closer to Christmas I will try and see if I can get some glass baubles and add some lace to them, I think. Look at that. Oh, look, that looks really nice, doesn't it? What do you think? Oh, I've still got a little bit of thread there. Let's cut that off. Oh, I quite like that. Wonder if it would come unravelled. Do you think it will unravel? I've got my lighter here somewhere. Let me just tap the ends just to stop them, you know, unraveling, because it's got, I think it's got sort of, it's a netting, but it's got like a little gold thread, or it's made of the gold thread. Let's just mount that on. Actually, that's made it look like a little flower on the top there, doesn't it? Oh, I quite like that. I quite like that. Let's pop you down there. I'm going to add, what's this, pink? Do you think that will look pretty? Sort of like a golden pink. That's quite nice, isn't it? But I do like the little bit of, oh, I think that's going to put on a little bit of the trim around there. Do you think you'll see it? You probably will from the other side. So I'm going to glue, a little bit of glue in there. Pop this on. Hold that in for a minute. There we go. Put that on. Yeah, the velvet one I had to sew, and it did take quite a long time to sew this little bit around the top, because it was that little bit thicker, and then you have to sort of cover it up a little bit. But I think the velvet is still lovely, but I think the velvet would look nice on a bigger bauble. These are a little bit too small, I think. I think it'd be a bit more sort of like prettier, bigger. So the bigger the better, I think, on that one. Oops. Tuck that in like that. I think I'm going to go round one more time over the top of that. A little bit, just to hold this piece up just a little bit more. Like that. So pretty. Oops. Go. Round and around. Oops. Doing things like that, like I said before, it's using a glue gun. This makes life so much easier. So much easier to use a glue gun when you're doing things like this. Let's just pop a bit of glue in there and squeeze this together. There we go. Perfect. Surely we should add a few little flowers to this, do you think? Oh, I like that. Look at that. Looks like a little present, doesn't it? We've still got the little top piece. Oh, I like that. That's lovely. What do you think this would look? It's quite nice. We shall see. Let's what else we can put on here. I've got lots of little bits and pieces in here. Got a nice big bright pink flower on there. I have these lovely little orange ones, which are really, really pretty, aren't they? They're quite pretty on there. Or shall we have a little one of these? Let's have a look. It's a big sort of heart there. That's quite nice, isn't it? Oh, so many different ways we can use these. That's quite nice. Oh, I could just put something on the front. Oh, I like that. That's quite nice, isn't it? Oh, this one. This one, I think. Like that. But I do need a bow at the top. But what should we have? I quite like the white, because we've got the white pearl in there. Do you think I should make another bow? Oh my gosh, I've got glue everywhere. See, I'm liking the white. I do like the white for Christmassy, isn't it? And I think the organza ribbon has got like that little shimmer to it, which is really nice. Should we have a bigger one? Or that size? That size should do. Oh no, let's go big. Let's do big. Let's go this way. Round like that. Up through there. Oops. Tie a little bow. There we go. Super, super simple. There we go. Pull that off. Pop that over to the side. There's our little bow. Pull these out. There we go. Be quite nice to have sort of like silver netting, wouldn't it? Like that would be really nice. So let's just, which is the end bits there. So that would go on like that. Then if you've got it from the back, you can see, just still see the lovely pearl trim, can't we? Let's put that in there. Pop that on. Like that. Should we put that on there? Actually, that does look quite nice. I think it might look a little odd down there now. But I do like the little tufty bit at the top. That's pretty, and that's very, very simple, isn't it? So we didn't really do pinky shabby this week, was it? It was just pretty. I think these are just so pretty. How are we doing for time? Oh, we've done quite, not too bad. I don't think we've got time for another one, but loving it. Shall I just show you quickly how, because I've got one more bauble left, how to do this pink, how I did this, pop this on and sewed it on, whether we've got time to do that. But how lovely is that? Really, really simple. And I think as an extra little gift, if you're giving somebody a little gift with, where's my little white, oh there it is, like a little gift bag, this hanging on gift bag, and it's like a little something to give somebody, isn't it, with a gift, especially if you're going to a dinner. Oh look what I've gone and done. We need to just twist that round. There we go. Pop that through there. That's not going to be easy. Or maybe it will. Do you think I can get through this? Through here. Just so I can thread it through the end. Because I'm a bit of a nightmare at threading, aren't I? As you all probably gathered. Let's just do that. Pop that through. There we go. Look, I put that on the wrong way round. Not that it really matters. There we go. Oh look, that looks lovely with the white. Let's pull this through. Tie a little knot. Make sure that's level. Tie a little knot at the top. There we go. This could probably go to the bottom. I'm going to just do that. Do you think that will hide inside? Without pulling that through. I think that would hide in there. It might go in, maybe not. That little bit, if I chop this little bit off. There we go. There we go, and then that will just hang up, and then you don't see any of the knot. Look at that, isn't that just so cute? I love it. Let's tidy this little bit up. Let's pull that bit out. There we go. There we go. That's better. That's a little bit tidier. How lovely is that? And as it's hanging on the tree, you can see it will be all sparkly and pretty. Right, guys, I know we've been ages, but I'm just going to show you quickly, if I can. If I can, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Pop this on. Now, I don't have top of one of these, do I? No, I think I'm just going to use them unless I've got, oh, I've got one on here. I've got one on my gold one. That's what I'm going to use. Oh, if I can get it off. Pop this off. Oh, I think this, there we go. We need this on here. We don't need this little bit. Oops. We don't need that, but we do need this to fit on there. A little bit of glue. Actually, this might be easier I found it difficult, like I said, because this bit wasn't long enough to gather it around properly, but it might be. So you don't need to paint it if it's got, I could have used the gold one actually, couldn't I? You don't need to paint it if you're going to use something that you can't see the fabric in. So we need to cut this. Like this. So let's go this way. There and there. Good old bit of eyeballing, isn't it? I'm going to cut this straight the way across because I can use this little bit as well. I try to do different, you know, show you different fabrics on these so you know what to use and what not to use. But again, it will just be the thinnest fabric, the thinnest one that you've got, which would be the best. Probably a bit too much, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to just pop a little bit of glue on there. Just tuck that up into there. This I could probably cut a little bit more off actually. A little bit there. Stick that in, just so we've got it around the top. I'm going to cut a little bit more off. If I can. There we go. Pop this little bit to the side. This makes it a little bit easier to do it this way because you can gather it a little bit better then. If you stick it in four little sections, even sections. Like that. Pop that in. Stick that down. There we go. Pull these little bits up. And gather those up like that. Like that. Do you think we will be able to do this one with cotton? Can you see? Do you think I will? Let's give it a go. Shall we give it a go? Gather this up. I made such a palaver of the other one when I made it with the sewing because it was really quite difficult to do. I really didn't think about it properly, I don't think. Which I just sort of like, sometimes I just jump into things. I don't think about it, I just do it. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. I'm going to just tie this as tight as I can without it breaking. There we go. There we go. I knew it would break. Ah, look at that. That's gone in there quite nicely, hasn't it? What do you think? I think I will cut this bit off anyway. Pull that up. Like that. Oh, look at that. Fabulous. Going to tie it with a bit of this as well. Put this on. I'm going to double it over like that because it's quite big. And wrap that round. Wrap it round so we are nice and tight. Oh my gosh, that was so much easier. So much easier than my last one I did. Or the first one I did. Right, a little bit of glue. Thing is, you don't see this bit anyway. You're probably saying I could do it a different way. Can I do it a different way? Does anybody know a different way of making it nice and tight. Let's just cut this piece off. Wrap this round. A little bit of glue in there. Put that in. Perfect. Chop this little extra bit off. There we go. Look at that. Actually, if you did it in brown, you could make little Christmas puddings, couldn't you? You could make tiny little Christmas puddings on here. There we go. That will just move about a bit. Let me take my big scissors and... Oops, I've got cotton on here. I want to chop this right down so I can actually see the little bit underneath. We can find it. There we go. There we go. Shall I just melt it a little bit? I've got so much cotton here. Do you think that's a bit too... Let's just drop a little bit more off. It's a bit chunky in there. There we go. We need to be able to get to our little loop in there. Let's go round. Okay, that's pretty good, isn't it? Look at our little round one. Oh, I do like that. Actually, I wasn't going to do one in the velvet because it was really difficult because I sewed it, and again, we didn't need to sew it. We just needed to do it properly. We just needed this bit to be longer. Right, I'm going to throw these little bits away because I don't need those. Love it. Absolutely love it. Right, let's just pop a little bit more glue around there. Oh, how pretty. Right. What should we put on this one? Little pink bow. We could have a little pink bow, if I can speak. Or we could go through for something rather glamorous, if I can speak. What have we got in here? What do we have? Look at this pretty little heart. Look, that's gold on there. A little bit of gold. A little bit of bling. I think they need to be a bit more... Look at these. Have you seen the colour of these? Look at that. It's just beautiful. If I could just make this one so it sort of like has little thingamajiggies on. What should we put around here? We need something around here, don't we? Instead of just this little bit of... And then we can add these bits on here. Sorry guys, this is a really long one. I'll try and sort of do a bit more. There we go. That's quite nice, but we need something over here. What's that? It's a bit too much, isn't it? Do you think that's like, whoa. We could put it on the bottom. I need something over the top. We need a little bow thing, don't we? That's too much. Let's have a look. I must have some little pink flowers or something in here. Oh, I've got white. Oh, I've got pink. Shall we have it? Shall we? Oh, let's just take... I don't like the green on these. I think they just put me off, and I've just broken that one. There's a single one. We need some of these without the greenery on it, because I just don't like this green that they have on there. There you go. I did have some very nice sort of darker pink ones. I was trying to find them the other day and I couldn't find them. I can't find them anywhere. See, that's a different sort of pink, but it's not those ones. They were sort of like a maroony pink. They were really pretty. I've only got 2 of those, but maybe we can use those. Shall we add a few little white ones in there? Take you out, put that in there. Okay, let's get rid of this cotton. How many do we need? Let's just stick and find out, shall we? Let's put that on there. Stick on there. This one, I'm going to pop this one on this side, like that. That one there. There we go, so that's in the little four corners. Oops. I don't think I'm going to have to put the pink, I think I'll have to put the pink all the way around. Like that. Actually, I could probably also use my lovely little rose trim. Would look pretty on there as well, wouldn't it? Just chop that off. Trouble is, when you pull these, they sort of like all unravel. Pull the little green bits off. Keep going, because they will turn out lovely. Let's just take this off. There we go. Oh, glue everywhere. Put you in there. Do you think that could be the front? We could put a little bow on there instead of another one of these. Do we want more around the top? Oh my gosh. Along this bit. We need to make it a little bit better at the top, don't we? I think I'll have enough pink ones. I think I'll go for a little bit of bling around the top as well. Let's just see if I can cut these off. Oh, there we go. Pull without breaking. There we go. Oh, I quite like this one. This is going to look really pretty. How many do we need? I need this one and then one more should do it. One there. I've still got enough room in there to poke a needle through and get a little dingly dangly hanging from there. What are we going to put on the front? What was I going to put on here? I was going to put a couple of these lovely little blingy things, wasn't I? Do you think that looks quite nice? Oh, I've got so much glue on me. I think I need another one of those. I need something a bit bigger. Need something a little bit bigger. I've got these lovely little ones. A little bit of something, a little pearl. I'm not sure. I'm going back to these because I just love these. but that's not going to work. Oops, wrong place. I'm going to take these. These are little sew-on gems. I'm going to put them in between these little bits here. And there. Oops. Like that. Take one of these, pop them in there. I think this sort of thing, unless you're a planner and you can plan these things, I'm not a very good planner. I just sort of like go for it and make things. I don't generally plan out when I do things like this, but you could probably plan it out and know what you're doing, and it won't take so long. These are just lovely on here. So I'll put another bit there. These are just going in between the little roses. Look at that. Keep going because it's looking pretty. Which way round? That goes on there. Do you think I need another flower on that one? And then I'm going to just have one more flower, I think, on there, just to fill in that gap. Just there. Where is my, there we go. Let's take some of this. That's quite nice, isn't it? Glue some of that in there. Like that. Where's my little blingy bit? Do you like these? That's sort of then the middle blingy bit. To just glue this little bit down, I think, in there. Oh, look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? I probably could have done it all the way round, actually. Let's just get that bit of glue off. Right, where's that? That's sort of there, isn't it? Let's pop a tiny, tiny bit of glue just there. Oops. On that bit. How lovely is that? Nope. Let's close that up. I wonder if I could have just done that. Do you think all the way round? Should we do that so it's a little bit more even on here? And I think that's probably will do then. Because this video is a bit of a long one, guys. I do apologise. I didn't realise it was going to be so long. But I am going to cut that off. Like that. Because I don't think it's going to bend properly. There we go. What's that like? Oops. Glue, glue, glue. There's a little bit of wet glue in there, so I'm going to pop that into that bit. Bend it round up into there. That one. Yeah, I could have done this a little bit better. I could have actually planned it out and had these a little bit more even around it. But I think it will still look really, really pretty. I'm going to go round to there. A little bit of glue. Okay, sorry guys, my battery went, so I thought it was a bit of a long video. So I have just changed the battery. I have finished putting that around there like that, and how lovely is that? I think that is beautiful. I love it. So let's quickly pop something through the top. I think we'll just go again with this white because I think that's so pretty. Let's just take that off. Let's just see if I'm going to be able to thread that through like we did before. Let me get my needle, pop that through. I'm so covered in glue, but I've had a lovely time making all of these. I've just made them with what I had, but again, don't go out and buy anything. Have a little rummage through your Christmas stuff, see if you've got anything that you can use. There we go, lovely. And have a little practice and see what you've got. Look at that, that's pretty shabby, isn't it? That's a little bit more of a shabby one. Let's just, don't think the knot will fit at the bottom on this one, but I will just tie that in a little knot like that and tie that up. There we go. Lovely, lovely. Let's just clip that off. All these little bits of glue gun thread. But how lovely is that? So that's a lovely little velvet one. So that's really, really pretty and lovely. And again, if you wanted to add a little bit of stickles or something to that, you could add a little bit of stickles with it. A little bit more bling, a few more little stick-on gems on here, but I just think they are beautiful. So there we go guys, I have got lots of lovely little baubles to add to gifts for people throughout Christmas. That's another one there. There's this one we did with the little dingly dangly bit at the bottom, which is fun. But again, you can add these little bits to the top. Do you know what I mean? You could have a little top piece with all the little beads hanging off it as well. So that's a pretty one. And these two are the ones that I did previously. And you can see there where I've just added a little bit more stick-on gems. But they are lovely. Not stick-on gems, they are little flat back ones. So there we go guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I did enjoy that. I do like making just without really knowing what I'm going to be doing. I think they always turn out pretty good, don't they? So there we go guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you soon. All right guys, bye bye.